Section 1.1. Sound, soft ambient room tone, slowly joined by a faint rhythmic heartbeat. The arena was dark. A deep humming silence filled the space, the kind of quiet that only happens when 10,000 people hold their breath at once. A single rhythmic sound echoed, amplified. A heartbeat. Thump, 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 thump. They weren't just waiting for a competitor. They were waiting for an answer. After 6 months of rumors, of silence, of screens fading to black ... they were waiting for her. The expectation was a heavy electric blanket. The air was thick with questions. Was she broken? Was she done? Or was she ready to fight? Then the music hit. Not the old song. Not the familiar anthem. This was different. A deep grinding bass. A warning. Yeah, entrance simple nahi thi. Yeah, pura attitude ka blast tha. New look, new energy, new beast mode. The lights flashed, sweeping the roaring crowd. And there she was. She looked past the fans, her eyes fixed on the ring, a cold, focused fury in her gaze. She wasn't back to reclaim her past. She was back to burn it all down. The crowd went absolutely wild, screaming for the return of their hero. She stepped through the ropes. The arena noise was overwhelming. Commentators were shouting, trying to describe the sheer charisma, the intimidating new presence. The company's commissioner, a man in a sharp suit, stood in the center of the ring, holding a microphone and a velvet case. He opened it, revealing the old championship belt, the one she never lost, the one she'd relinquished due to injury. He smiled, presenting it. The crowd cheered, ready for the emotional reunion. This was the moment. The hero's return. She took the microphone, the cheers washing over her. She held the microphone. The crowd waited for the speech. I'm back, maybe. This is for you. Instead, she just stared at the commissioner. Then she looked at the belt. She looked at the crowd. A shadow of a smile crossed her face. And it was cold. Liken asli shak totab milla. She didn't take the belt. She motioned for him to hand it over. He did, and in one smooth, defiant motion, she dropped it. The heavy gold and leather hit the mat with a dull, disrespectful thud. The crowd's roar died instantly. She didn't stop there. She didn't just drop it. She stepped on it. She placed her new black boot right on the center plate, grinding her heel into the polished gold that represented an entire era. That was the gesture that made the crowd go pura pagal. It wasn't a mistake. It was a message. The arena erupted, not in cheers, but in a chaotic wave of shock and fury. Thousands of hands that were clapping were now pointing, faces twisted in disbelief. This wasn't a return. This was a betrayal. She had spit on their shared memories. Backstage, monitors lit up with horrified faces. Her old manager, the woman who had guided her entire career, simply covered her mouth and walked away from the screen. Producers were shouting into headsets. Is this in the script? Stay on her. Stay on her. The live feed split, showing fans weeping in the front row, but elsewhere, a new energy sparked. In the chaos, small pockets of the crowd began to cheer. They loved the disrespect. They loved the attitude. In 30 seconds, she hadn't just returned. She had declared a civil war on her own legacy. The next 24 hours were brutal. Every sports talk show, every podcast, every online forum was a war zone. They called it the stomp. They called her ungrateful, a pariah, a disgrace to the business. Old legends, the champions whose names were on that belt, went on record expressing their disgust. The media didn't see a new beast mode. They saw a spoiled star destroying the foundation that built her. The company's stock wobbled. Sponsors were reportedly concerned. She had become the biggest villain in the world overnight, exactly as she planned. But the loudest noise wasn't the media. It was the silence. We see a minimalist shot of her sitting in a sterile hotel room, the glow of her phone lighting her face. She's looking at one text message. It's from her mother. It just says, "Your father didn't watch. He turned the TV off." That was it. No congratulations. No, "Are you okay?" Just the quiet, heavy confirmation that the bridge home was now ashes. The champ mask cracked, just for a second, revealing the human underneath, suddenly realizing the true weight of her actions. A week later, a sit-down interview. No crowd, no lights, just a camera and a quiet room. The interviewer asked the one-word question, "Why?" She leaned forward. "Because," she said, her voice soft but steady, "you all built a museum around me while I was still alive. You loved the girl who smiled, the girl who cried, the girl who persevered." She paused. "But that girl was weak. That girl was tired. That girl was a character. And she was killing me. I didn't drop a title. I dropped a costume. I dropped the chains you all loved me for." The world understood, or at least, they pretended to. The new her was a ratings giant. Merchandise flew off the shelves. The controversy made her bigger than ever. She got everything she wanted. But months later, a hidden camera caught a candid moment. She was walking down that same ramp. The crowd was roaring, a mix of boos and cheers. She walked in like a champ, but as she passed the fans, her eyes darted left and right. She was looking for someone, a familiar face, her mother, her old manager, anyone, but they weren't there anymore.